Hey, Brad. I know Romeo was a late add to the injury report today. Is that just him continuing to get his legs under him and look toward game shape?
Chris, Brian Olive and I were just betting on the first question, and Romeo was the guest, so you made Brian happy. Romeo he's just not ready to play. You know, he's gone through. Even yesterday, we did a little film thing with the team, and then he played some 5-on-5 up and down, and he just doesn't feel ready. He doesn't feel comfortable. I think we're days, not weeks away, but the coming back off of the last 2 weeks has been really difficult from a physical standpoint. And so cleared and everything fine cardiovascularly, but just as far as reconditioning and everything else.
Brian, Rob.
Hey, Brad, just wanted to check in on how Shemi's has been recovering from his issue, and if the plan for Tristan this week is still be able to get him to do some testing in terms of the cardiovascular stuff, if he's going to be clear for that, you think?
We saw Tristan this morning for the first time in however long, 3 weeks or whatever. So he's going to be able to, once all of those things come back, which I think we had most of them back and everything looks good, he'll be able to start ramping up his activity. What that means as far as coming back, like, I don't know what that means. Shem is projecting, we're looking at probably late next week to be available. So, you know, another week away probably.
Bob Schron.
Thanks, Brandon. Hi, Coach.
Bye.
Coach, given the scheduling and, you know, obviously there's game seemingly every day, but with can you practice at all in terms of offensive execution? It just you know, to the innocent eye, if 4 for 24 from threes, it just seemed like ball movement. Do you practice? Is there a way to get reps to maybe correct that?
Guys get plenty of reps, both individually and in small groups. Depending on how much they played, they get a lot more reps. So the guys that didn't play, you know, Tremont and Taco and you know, Carson and guys that didn't play the night before will all get in some sort of live action on their off days to keep them fresh. And obviously everybody else, you can't play them every day, and practicing at any real pace is probably not doable in the midst of this stretch. However, they do get in a lot of individual work, and some guys need it more than others just from their own, you know, emotional readiness, right? I think that, you know, some guys can have a 1 for 10 night, not touch a ball for 2 days and be ready to roll. Other guys need to get in the gym and they need to get in a couple hundred shots or make something on the move or you know, do a routine that they've always done to regain their rhythm. Everybody's a little bit different, but it's all tailored to each individual and to what they need when you're talking about the higher minutes guys. And then we do what we can in walkthroughs and in any practice opportunities to try to improve the small details of how we execute on both ends. But those are fewer and far between in this season in particular.
John Corrales.
Brad, Jaylen and Jayson they're leaders on this team, and they've come on here and talked to us about how they're, you know, how they want to lead and all of that. How fair is it to evaluate their leadership skills right now based on this season, the circumstances of the season?
Well, I think, listen, those two guys are all-stars, and those two guys understand that with the expectation of being, you know, our best players, that people are going to evaluate them in everything they do. That's a hard transition for young guys. I've tried to be very empathetic towards that, because I think that as much as you know, we ask of them, that's just another responsibility. I've said for years, or at least I've said in the past year, John, that my goal for them was to be two of the better leaders by the time they're 26 or 27, right? That you have more experience, you have more to lean on. They'll have this year, whatever it turns out to be, to lean on as another opportunity to reach back and say, I've lived this and I can help us navigate this. And so I think the most important thing that young players can do when talking about leading is they can lead by example with their play on both ends, and they can be accountable. And I think that for the most part, they deserve high marks in both of those areas, and especially accountability. Those guys don't shirk from their responsibility. They don't point fingers at other people. And they have been, really receptive to growing, and they deserve credit for that. And they're not as good of leaders as they will be when they're 27, but they're as good as any 22 and 24-year-old I can imagine. And so I think that that's one of the many reasons why I think they're special.
Final question, Adam Himmelsbach.
Hey, Brad, I was just wondering about what you think about seeing Ojeyele getting a chance again, and if you've been able to keep up, like if you saw any of his Team USA games, or if you've been able to stay in touch with him.
Yeah, I watched him play with Team USA, and communicated with him a little bit around there, and really happy for him. I sent Stan a text today right afterwards. I can't say enough good things about Ojeyele. I'm brought back to how much I appreciate the way that team played, and he was obviously the leader of the group, but he was so special here and so special to be around that you want the best for him. And this is a great opportunity. And I looked across the court today, and the Houston team we played a couple of weeks ago is not the team we're playing today, and two of the guys off the bench were two of our better players on that team as well. And it's always good to see all of those guys have success. And I want, I'm sure Ojeyele is going to kill it when he gets that opportunity. I'm sure it's going to lead to a long-term opportunity, as we all hope.
All right, we'll wrap it up right there. Thanks, Coach.